Hey gentlemen, how you doing? It's Johnny Berba. If you've never heard of me before, you've just come on my YouTube channel, you've got to subscribe, because I'm a life and dating coach. I'll teach you everything in regards to overcoming social anxiety, shyness, nervousness, and how to attract the ladies with honesty. That comes at a shock. So subscribe, and I don't really have to say too much. The channel speaks for itself. There's tons of in-field demonstrations showing you how to meet and attract women. Also me teaching my students. So in today's video, I wanted to answer a question that I get a lot from students, and I had a Facebook message from a guy. It was a long one, so I thought I'd do a video about it. And the question read something along the lines of this: Johnny, I finally got to a stage in my life where I just don't feel good enough about myself. I don't think women like me. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to give you a quick fix method, because I don't think there is one. This is a process. This is a healing process. Requires going out, improving your confidence, practicing, reading books. Whatever you need to do, you've got to do it. So I'm going to tell you a bit about my story. When I used to feel this way, I had this constant feeling of bullying that I wasn't good enough. Looking back now, I've got a good idea why I felt that way. Because I didn't like myself. I didn't feel good about myself. I never had a job. Now, I know for me growing up, especially from my family upbringing, getting a job was number one. That came before health. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that is a good thing, but the pressure that I was under to get good grades at school, don't be a failure, get a good job, you must get a good job, there's not a lot of jobs around, you've got to get a good job. So the pressure, the constant pressure, then what does that do? All my dreams and aspirations, if I had any at the time, or if I wanted to even think that way, I can't think that, I just got to get a job. And for me, getting a job was a normal job. Now again, no offense to anyone who does a normal job. I've done every low-paid job you can think of. So for me, that was one of the prime reasons why I didn't feel good enough, and it affected my self-worth for speaking to women. I couldn't speak to women. I thought I had no right. I used to feel dirty. I used to feel unworthy. I used to feel disgusting. That's how I felt. That was how I felt. So that's one of the things that comes to mind with me about yourself, and anyone else that's watching this that's feeling this way, probably likely that you're not happy with your job. Or if you are happy with your job, you're not happy with your life. It's always a reflection. When you feel you don't feel good enough and women don't find you attractive, it's always deeper. It's never that you're fucking missing a pickup line, or you're wearing the wrong colour socks so you don't have your fashion right. That is important as well, but it's always something deeper. In my case, in the case of hundreds of men I've worked with, it usually stems from being bullied. Someone said something to you. I know when I was younger, I was called a cunt, I was called useless, I was called stupid, I was called a geek, I was spat on. So of course this affected my self-worth. It caused a lot of pain, it caused a lot of depression, it caused me to be angry, it caused me to be violent, it caused me not to want to trust people. And of course then I didn't realise I didn't even trust myself, because I didn't trust anyone. And I was frightened of going out and socialising. This had a wear and tear on my internal game at the time. So these are some of the things that I want to encourage you to look at. Now, of course, you're going to say to me, well, fucking hell, Johnny, I don't want to look at these things. This is painful. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to tell you to look at it, but I know it's going to help you. Another one is who you're around. Of course, like Les Brown said, birds of a feather flock together. We attract what we are. We are around how we feel. So when I didn't feel good, I had low self-esteem, I was around people the same. Now maybe they didn't feel as bad as I did, or maybe they felt worse. I'll never know, but I've got a pretty good idea based on the conversations that we had from day to day. The conversations went like this: that fucking cunt over there, he's got loads of money, he doesn't deserve it. Or he's sneaky. Or, these women, they're just bitches, man. They just go for guys with money and cars. They're not going to go for guys like us. They go for rappers, or they go for sportsmen or footballers. There's no point speaking to them. All right, there's no point speaking then. Game up. That's how I felt. Just felt like giving up, and I did give up for many years. So when you feel that you don't feel good enough about yourself, women don't like you, that's not true. It's you that don't like you. I always say it to students: the women are here, they're ready when you are. Women don't go around saying, I'm going to make it my full-time business not to like men. Of course you get the exceptions, if a girl has been hurt or damaged by a man, but in general, no woman walks around the street going, I'm going to reject these guys, wait till one of these day gamers comes up to me. It doesn't work that way. We create our own reality and our own thinking, our own thought process, our story about how we identify with ourselves. These things all matter. So I totally relate to you. And I know it's not easy, and I'm not going to be a typical coach or life coach that says, just do this, this and this and it'll all be fixed. No, this was work for me. It took me years to get into this place, but I don't want to frighten you of that. I want to inspire you of that. The quicker you get started, the quicker the pain will start to go away. And how do you do that? You already know the answers. You already know it, my friend. You know it better than I can tell you. I've just got to remind you to do what you're afraid to do. So, to get down to the question, it's fear. It's fear of finding out who we are. Because if we think that we're a piece of shit, we're no good, we're the guy at school that got bullied all the time, we're the guy that never got a job, we're the guy that's a virgin, or the guy that never gets the attractive women, we can create a powerful story. And that story can become who we are, and we choose that. We surrender to that. We say, yeah, this is me, and poor me, I can't do anything. Another one I want to say to you is, I'm going to get a bit tough on you, is stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself. I know that's hard for me to say, but it's easy because that's how I felt. What I did was, and I've come to know in psychology apparently, I'm not an expert, but I know quite a lot from my own working on myself, is that apparently in Freudian psychology, the ego feeds off of this self-suffering, poor me, look at me, no one cares about me, God doesn't care about me, my family doesn't care about me, women are cruel to me, I just got an unlucky draw in this world. And that isn't true. That isn't true, because we can go from feeling like shit, how I used to feel, to feeling amazing. I sometimes hate that word, I just use it. Or feeling great, feeling really good in ourselves. And also having the tools that when we fall out, we can push ourselves back in. Because, I get days when I don't feel good about myself, or I might get a thought that comes in and questions whether I'm good enough. But I just look at my life, I look at the type of person I've become, the type of values that I uphold, the results I've got with women, the amazing results I get in my students on my 6 weeks transformation program, and this changes my psychology. Then I accept that I'm a human being in a human form with emotions and feelings, and a constant thought process that is analysing and deciding and learning all the time. So sometimes I see it as a good thing. I reframe and I say, if that comes up and I ask myself, I don't feel good about myself, what more could I do to make myself feel better, to go feeling good? Or could I just say sometimes, that's fine. Everyone gets days when they feel like that. It doesn't matter how much money you got or women. But on the side note, it's not good enough to just say, poor me, and you sent me that email, and I know that it was a cry for help, and I understand I've had many cries for help, but you've got to toughen up. And not in the muscular sense, not in the sense of being physical, spiritual strength. You've got to go within, and you've got to go out, and you've got to challenge these things. I had to challenge them. I had to say, well, is it true? Am I just some loser that come from council estate, from a rough school, that never got an education, that was bullied, that was laughed and spat on? Well, am I that person? I don't want to be this person for the rest of my life, because deep down I know who I am. So nothing I'm going to leave you with is, I found that years later, when we say the word, I don't feel good enough, what we're really saying is, I'm frightened to feel good enough. I'm afraid of what comes with that. Because if I feel good enough, people are they're going to be drawn towards me, they're going to have an opinion about me, they're going to want to look at me, I'm going to have a responsibility, I'm going to possibly become what you guys are saying, I'm having a bit of joke, I'm going to become more alpha male, I'm going to have attractive women, that might frighten me, I might get an attractive woman, I'm not used to it, I don't know what to do, I don't know if I'm going to, excuse my language, be able to perform right, be able to give her a good seeing to, be able to sexually please her, I might not be able to get an erection, I might let myself down, I might be dumped, I might be hurt, I don't want to avoid this happening. My friends might attack me, they might not understand that I'm changing because they always see me as this person. And why do they see that way? Because you choose it, we choose our own reality. God gives us the health and gives us the time on the earth, and it's up to us how we use it. So it is difficult, but when you actually start putting it into practice, you realise it's easier than when you're sitting there going, fucking hell, the world owes me a living and I'm really suffering here and I feel ashamed and god damn, if people knew the way I was thinking about myself and feeling, they would not have any time for me. That's not true. That's not true. And we've all got second chances. God gives us a second chance. I used to feel the same way in my flat. I used to think, I just feel worthless. I've got no job. My fashion is bad. I've not hardly had any sexual experiences with attractive women. I find it hard making friends. I can't trust people. I've got a small selected amount of friends and I'm not really feel connected to them. I don't know if I can trust them. I don't know if they trust me. It's just a real feeling of self-pity. But I promise you, the sooner you get working on it, the sooner it changes. How can you do that? Go onto my YouTube channel, look at the things I did. I went out, I started to speak to women from a place of honesty. So practice honesty in your life, because when you're not feeling good, it's usually because, I know it sounds a little bit hypocritical, or of me to say this, because I'm still working on myself, but it's because you're living a dishonest life. It's because you're projecting out what you are. You're getting it back. You're saying that women are horrible, they don't like me. You don't like yourself. You're horrible to yourself. It's probably like that you're horrible to other people. I know I was. I was tough on people because I was afraid of being attacked. I was always protecting myself. So there is hope. Believe me, I'm proof of that. I went from a council estate. I went from having no education, no business or financial or marketing advice or qualifications, and I learned this stuff by myself. And do you know how I learned it? I went into my pain. I used it as a motivation. I was curious. I got to a point in my life where I was in so much pain that I was sick with fear. It used to give me diarrhea, bad stomach, irritable bowel syndrome. I couldn't sleep. I used to sweat. I used to shake. Sometimes I couldn't get out of the house. I was frightened of getting up in the morning. I'd go to bed at night thinking, oh man, I don't want Monday morning to come, I don't want Tuesday to come, because everyone's going to work and I'm going down the job centre to collect a check. So I had to pick myself up from the pits of hell, drag myself up. And then when I did that, it was amazing what happened. I started to meet like-minded people. I started to read books. I started to go online. And I don't know about you, but I've always been a practical man. When I read, I get impatient. I'm like, oh, I've got to get out and do it. And I started to speak to women. And through the practicality and the honesty and practicing my alignment, my whole life changed. And that was a metaphor. So it was never really about women, and it's never about women for yourself. It's about making the changes. You could go down and practice hitting a punch bag and getting good at that. If you feel good hitting a punch bag, you're going to feel good with yourself. So that's what you need to do. You need to work on yourself, right? I hope that helps. It's a powerful message, and I'll speak to you soon. Like and subscribe, and remember, enjoy the process, all right? I'll see you soon. Bye.